And welcome to One Stop Co-op Shop. Steve, I'm here with.
Kim, hi.
This is like kind of a big thing, right? It's like your
No,
face
you're
reveal.
making it worse.
Making it worse.
I thought it'd be weird if I was a disembodied voice while we were doing a review. So,
Yeah.
here I
Okay.
am.
So Kim's joined me. We're gonna try something a little bit different tonight. We're gonna be doing a live review. And we thought we'd do the live review off of the game we've been playing. Well, we've been playing a lot of games lately, actually, to be honest. But V-Commandos specifically, and it should be up here in the corner. So, and the video of us playing is down there as well. One of the games we're playing. So, but yeah, we're gonna do this review, and as we go through our top 5 things we're gonna talk about the game, doing pros and cons like our normal one-stop format. If you guys want to join on YouTube, we'd love to have you jot down any comments you want that will pop up on the screen, and we can have a nice, fun discussion. So it's not just our opinions; it's also yours.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So, real quick, if you don't know what V-Commandos is, it is a stealth infiltration game. It's made by Triton Noir, and it is set in a World War II setting. And you're playing as commandos trying to go on various missions. There is a one-off play or campaign play, and it's mostly an action with some dice resolution going on with it. Would you agree?
I would agree. That's a great summary. I followed it. Good job.
Good job. Pass your test.
Yes.
Okay. And if you're first time joining us at One Stop, we like to do this top 5 format where we start with our least important thing you want to know about the game, moving on to number 1. So that's the same format we're going to do here. In fact, I have the numbers on the screen right now, so as we go through it, we'll reveal them. But like I said, we're watching the chat, so feel free to join us and comment, and we'll pop your comments on the screen too. So,
I'm ready.
you're ready? Okay,
I'm ready to comment on your rating system.
My rating system?
Yes.
So, disclaimer, I kind of did my top 5 elements, and I asked Kim, like, do you want to do your own, or you want to combine them?
I agreed with a lot of them, so I'm just going to jump in.
Yeah, it's like, we'll see what happens, but like, it'll be a fun discussion, I think. Mm-hmm. Okay, so starting off with our number 5 point. So this one, I'm starting off not quite as positive, on the negative side, and that is the mitigation. This game, like I said before, does have dice resolution in it, and a lot of it is, hey, if you're going to shoot the bad guys, you look, depending on the size tile you have, you roll the dice, and
that's it.
That's it.
And I agree with you on this point for sure, because sometimes going through the game, and I think the campaign is the way to play this game, because the one-off can just be like, oh, I'm done. But to the mitigation point, I want more power. I want more control. I want to be able to manipulate the game. And this, dice rolling it's a game of chance in that sense. And this game doesn't really let you tweak it too much. There are character abilities that, right? Or am I just making this up?
I don't know if there's a little bit of abilities for characters. For example, the German spy, when he's in his uniform, when he does a stealth check, he can roll 2 dice and choose the better option. No, he only fails on a 1. Yeah, so that one's a little bit different.
So like I think some of the character skill sets can help you manipulate it, but it's still like a set thing. During general play, you roll the dice, that's the outcome.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so there are equipment in the game that lets you manipulate a little bit, specifically binoculars, which I love. In fact, you got them in our last campaign.
Yeah, I hoarded those.
Yes.
I did, because that was my way of like, ooh, help me.
Right. And so that's nice, because like once per round, you can exhaust it to reroll any die, which is awesome. And honestly, that's what I want more of. Just a little more control. Like, it's like one of the other elements of the game. You walk into a room, and you have to roll a die for every enemy there to try to see if they detected you. And on a 1 or 2, they see you, and you're the alarm goes off and bad things happen. Well, it would be nice if you could, like, I don't know, like, prepare or something, like do an extra action where now you get to roll more dice, or maybe only fail on a 1 versus a 2 or something like that, because you're observe the enemy for longer or something like that. Just a little more mitigation is all I really want in this game.
Yeah, but I mean, the way it's balanced, it works the way it is. Because if they were to do that, then the game would be too easy.
Possibly, it'd be another action. It could be too easy. I'd have to try it out. But like, I don't know, just a little bit more. Like, actually, the easiest thing I think we're alluding to is is maybe some more equipment that just allows mitigation. That'd be the easiest thing to do. Throw it in the loot bag, and then when it pops up,
you get it. Okay,
you get it.
I could.
That might be enough. I don't know, but regardless, like just a little bit more would be ideal for us. And if you guys disagree or agree or have any of the comments, let us know. But that's our number 5. So let's keep going. Moving on to number 4. Number 4 is the maps design, and this is something very specific to it, meaning that in the game of V-Commandos, it's designed so that you can play a full campaign in a sitting, basically. And a campaign, it consists of different, they used to be called terrain, I believe, and then now they're being called levels. And so how it works is you'll play a level or more 2 levels simultaneously, and then once you complete them, you move on to the next level. So you're constantly building these levels and tearing them down and building the next one, tearing them down. And in a lot of games, that would be a nightmare. Like any dungeon crawler, for example, just all those pieces to grab. But V-Commandos has a brilliant design, and I love this design where it is just 3 different size tiles: a small, medium, and large. And then on each of those tiles, there's a indoor artwork, and the other side says outdoor artwork. And so that's it. You could go through all the tiles and find like, oh, here's a submarine tile.
Yeah, like the right thematically, looking one.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that if you want to, but you don't have to because it doesn't matter for this game. You just grab the tiles, lay them down, and you just start playing.
So it's super easy. Now, this one for me isn't as big of a deal because if I'm honest, I make Steve do all the work. You read the rules, you tell me what it is, yes. You set up the game, bless you for taking down the game and putting it away, but you're very meticulous. You have a certain place and, you're particular. So I give you the honor to just take care of everything. And it works. So, yep. But like when I do set up this game, it's easy. You just give me the tiles, I match it to the picture, and we're good to go.
Yeah, and then you just need to put like doors on there and the alarms and just a few other like elements you can interact with on the board, and it's really easy to do, honestly, really fast. I think if you want to see how fast it is, watch one of our streams. I think it's
the last one.
The last one, right?
From last week, yeah.
Because we do change levels in the middle of that stream, so you can see how long it took us to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, and then we lost and then reset the game. So
spoilers.
It's very quick.
So
it's quick.
Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah, so I think that's a valid point. It's a pro, I would say, simplicity of it all.
Yeah, I would love to see more games kind of follow this suit, where it's like, if your game doesn't need all that minutia for some of the tile placement, just simplify it, make it easy for people to set up, because that's one of the things that drives me sometimes. Sometimes there's like these awesome games I like playing them, but I don't want to take the time to set up, I don't know, a huge game. It takes 30 minutes to get all the pieces right, and this one's so fast. I love it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, number 4, pro. Let's see if we keep on going. Moving on to point number 3, we have events. The events in the game are awesome. Big fan of them. So how it works is the first thing you do each round is draw an event card. An event card, the nice thing is, could be a pro for you or con for the team. It varies quite a bit what they do. On the bottom of the events, it tells you, it might tell you where the enemies are moving if they don't know where you are. And I like the events a lot because they add interesting twists in the game, and it's so much so that my strategy will change. For example, there is an event in the game where I believe like bombers are flying nearby, or something's happening in the distance where there's a lot of loud sounds. And so for that one round, you can do explosions and they won't detect you, which is really cool.
Yeah, so it impacts the game, and because you're a big theme guy,
I love theme.
It plays well into the theme, the little stories that they're putting into these event cards and what's happening in the game. So I think they're very fun. You do have to remember to do them.
we got a little excited and some of our plays like, oh, come on, let's do the next strategy. Like,
oh, we didn't do the event card.
That's right. We're supposed to draw a card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it does. It changes how you can react or plan for the event in the game, which is nice.
Right. And some of them are pulled from actual historical events too, like movie theater is one of them. And so thematically what happened is some commanders were going to infiltrate a base, and apparently it was movie night that night. And so basically all the base was out by some barracks watching the film. And so the commandos came in and like took over the base. And then when the movie was done, they came out and like, oh, wait, we don't have control of the base anymore. So there's some fun events like that are in there that are kind of fun to read about. And and they all work thematically. So yeah, I'm a big fan of these events. I like it when the events aren't just always bad. It's nice to have like a good mix in there.
Hmm.
This game definitely does that. That's my number 3. The events are a pro. Moving on, number 2, scenario and scenario design specifically. I find the scenario design in this game excellent because there are, well, there are basically two different genres of scenarios. One where you like try to blow something up, another one where you're trying to not blow something up. But within that confines, they do a lot with the scenario design. Some of them, like we just played, where we're on a runway trying to get to the plane, and the whole building, the airport's like burning down. So we're
Yeah,
sprinting through it.
because you made it harder.
Because I made it harder,
That
yes.
was an extra option that he had to do. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool. And then you play another one where like, okay, now we have to infiltrate the prison and break out the pilots out there. Another
Yeah.
one
And they have to survive.
that to survive, right?
You have to bring them along with you for the ride.
Another one where you have to like, there's a tank nearby. And you have to move an anti-tank gun from one spot to another spot to take it out, for example. And another one where there's a sniper in the tower, so you have to be careful when you're visible because you get shot out extra times. And like, there's just so much variety in the scenarios. And I feel like none of them really feel similar to me. Well, I mean, I can see the argument with like you're blowing something up here and not blowing something here, but past that point, they feel very, very varied.
I kind of disagree
Okay.
with you a little bit on that one, where I think over time it's going to be repetitive.
I mean, you're saying that if you play the same scenario over and over again.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah.
I don't think you gain much out of multiple plays of the same scenario.
Yeah, you would probably bore of the same one if you played that a lot. You want that variety for sure.
Yeah. But like you have different characters that do different things that
Mhm.
could impact, the path that you choose.
Your strategies and yep. And I think the campaign does a really good job with it because you can play each of these levels as a one-off, and they have their own set instructions. But when you play as a campaign, you have those set instructions and generally plus some. Meaning that, okay, now because of the overarching story, this thing's happening now. For example, that runway I mentioned earlier, the airport burning down is only part of the scenario. It's not part of the regular, we're playing this game as the one-shot level. So
Yeah.
So yeah, that brings, so getting to you back to your point, that's another way where you can bring life into the scenarios. But I haven't felt like I mean, I played the same scenario over and over again, and as long as I'm switching it up and changing it, it's never really bothered me personally.
Okay. Well, and I think that goes back to the fact that you get much more immersed in the theme itself,
I
and
do.
you have the character scenarios in your head, and you're building a narrative as you play the game. So like he'll come through and be like, "Oh, my guy is doing this," and he builds the story as we play it. So it's very entertaining for me to play with you because the things that come out of your mouth sometimes. But
What are you trying to say?
you're a fun man sometimes. But for me, like I'll play the game and I'm not as engrossed in theme. I like themes, like particular themes for certain games. Like
Right.
I like superheroes. I like, war themes and things like that, but I don't like become the game, if that makes sense, which I think you do.
Become the game.
Yeah.
One with the game.
Jumanji, go.
Jumanji. Yep, that's fair. That's fair.
Mhm.
So I think that's our number 2, a pro. Moving on to our number 1, the biggest thing to know about the game, and that is how you can save actions. This is a huge pro for me. And so in this game, you're able to, most characters have 3 actions. Almost all of them do, to be honest. And so as you play the game, you generally use those 3 actions, but you have the option of saving one of those actions as you get a +1 action point token. And in most games, when you do that, that just means on a later turn, you get to do an extra action in a future round. However, it's very different in V-Commandos, and this is why it made it my number 1. With that +1 action, and honestly, all the 0 action cost abilities, you can do anytime. Anytime with the caveat of you cannot interrupt an existing execution of instructions. Like for example, if the enemy's spawning, you can't like spawn one guy and then do something. You have to finish spawning all of them, and then you can do something. Or if they're going to attack, you can do something before they attack or after they attack, but not in the middle of their attacking, for example. But outside of that, you could do a ton of options in the middle of the game, and like during other people's turns and the enemy turn, that opens up so much strategy in this game. And for a stealth game, it makes you feel like I am prepared. I've got the advantage because they didn't know I'm here, and it's really fun when like, okay, a guy just walked to my spot, he didn't see me. or they just spotted me. If I can try to mow them down real quick and maybe get out this alive, for example, or you're in trouble. Let me see if I can throw a grenade before they walk into a spot and take them out. Or we've got this TNT's set ready to go. Let's wait until we get a bunch of guys there and set it off. And
Yeah.
it just adds so much tactical play, so much strategy. I just love it.
Okay. I was at first gonna say like, why is this your number one? Because my initial thought was it's just an extra action. Like I have this thing lying around. It's not. What am I saying? It's not like critical to the
Right.
game. But then, as you're explaining it, you're saying you can have a reaction, or you
Correct.
can have an. And I know you said you can't interrupt, but you can act before something terrible happens and affect
Correct.
play immediately. So that part of it's nice.
Yeah,
But
maybe I
yeah,
shouldn't call it save action. I guess I always think of it because the +1 action lets you do any action at any time. Because you can normally only do 0 cost actions anytime, but you can do the +1 action you saved like a 0 cost action anytime.
yeah,
That's kind of weird to say, but
yeah, that makes
yeah,
more sense to me.
yeah.
But yeah, at first I was like, what?
Well, I would agree with you. If it was just a saving +1 action by itself, no, it wouldn't make the
No,
list.
but the power that it has
Correct.
is what you're saying.
Correct. It affects the tactical play, the strategy, and it makes this game so much fun to play in that regard. It's nice because while it is turn based, it doesn't really feel all that turn based because, well, one, the turns are pretty quick, honestly, but two, because you have this action you can do any time, it feels like it's always your turn basically, or I can always do something, or always can make a decision, and that's really
Unless
awesome.
you use up and you don't save. Because I don't save all the time. It's like, no,
Yep.
screwed myself.
You may see that in a few of our plays.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It would have been helpful to do that.
yep.
But yeah.
Well, and two, getting back to the events also tie into the save actions as well, because some events say, oh, well, now there's the tank just rolled by, and you have to dive out of the way. If you have a +1 action, you can avoid the explosion, for example.
Yeah, you won't die.
You will die. So, but yeah, so it ties into, it's a pretty core element of the game. Ties into a lot of different elements for sure. But yeah, those are what I thought were the 5 most important things to know about V-Commandos. 4 pros and 1 con. So
Yeah.
it's,
I think I'm pretty aligned with that. Again, I think another big part for you is getting engrossed in the theme and the scenarios themselves.
yep.
For me, the game is better played when you do the scenarios because the one-offs
You mean like the
are,
campaign that ties together?
yeah,
Right?
sorry, the
Right.
whole
Yeah, yeah.
campaign. Because the one-offs I feel are not a full picture of what you can really get. I know we played a one-off several weeks ago, and
Hmm.
I felt like I didn't do anything because it was, over very quickly.
Yep.
But then you pointed out after the fact, being such the sweet husband. No, you did. You helped do this, this, and this, and I felt a little better. But yeah, I would say that playing campaigns just to get a better full view of the game is the way to go on this one.
I think that's the intention as the main way of playing. It's nice that you can play these as one-off levels, but I think the intention is to play the campaign because it's really set up for that. And they reuse the levels in some of the campaigns as well, but they're, like I said, they have different custom rules, so they could be a different experience too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're getting to your final thoughts a little bit here. And honestly, anybody watching the stream right now, if you have your own thoughts, if you agree, disagree with us, counterpoints, you want to ask us questions, feel free to drop them. We'll respond. But you already started your final thoughts. You want to say overall what you think about the game?
Did I prepare? No.
No. Would you like me to go?
No, I got
Okay,
it.
okay.
I got it. Overall, I like the game, but I think a lot of it is playing with somebody that also enjoys playing games. Otherwise, I feel this game would be a little repetitive you roll the dice, that's your outcome. And we played one map where the characters that we had in particular, and the fact that the place was burning around us, you only had a certain path to go in order to even have a chance of winning. So we didn't even explore half of the map because we knew we would just fail. So I think there are some situations where you can kind of get pegged down in terms of what you can or should do. But overall, I still really like the game. It's fun to play.
Yeah, and I think in that situation, a lot of factors play into that because one, we were playing campaign, so it changed the level in such a way that there was basically one path to go. But on the other side, it also depends on what you have. For example, one of the levels we played, we needed to go heal a pilot that was fallen. But because the previous game and campaign play, you keep the loot you find, the equipment you find. We started with a med pack, or if you had a character that started with a med pack, you can potentially just go straight there. For example,
Yeah, we did complete that level very quickly because
hmm
we had that inventory.
right?
So it could have totally gone a very different way for sure.
Yeah, so definitely the characters you choose and their loadouts, and if you planned in the previous map or not, can really affect the game in that sense. Um, but yeah, so final thoughts for me, a little bit into that. The one-offs, I actually enjoy the one-offs. I do prefer the campaign play. The campaign play is very fun because you get that sense of growth a little bit because when you're playing a one-off, there's a giant loot bag, and you draw a decent amount of loot for sure, but you won't get some cool like goodies in
Yeah,
there.
you won't see the whole breadth of the game. And I
Right.
feel like it's a little shortchanged because, yeah, it's fun. And if you need to do something quick and you just want to get something on the table, it's very feasible. But
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, it's fast too because you can play. I can set up, play, and put this game away solo in 30 minutes. Honestly, with just a one-off level, it's very possible. But the campaign play, it probably takes
I think it depends. It took
it.
us an hour and a half on that first game.
That I think was an exception, but yeah, that it could take longer. That's probably more your normal board game length, whatever it be, like an hour to 90 minutes generally,
Yeah.
unless you're like us and who knows what
I
we were
don't know
thinking
what
that
happened
night.
that first game. Just
So
forgot how to work.
we got through it. We got through it.
Yeah.
But yeah, um, yeah. But the campaign play is really fun, and seeing how the game ramps up over time with the enemies popping out, I enjoyed that because you have these spawn tokens that prevent enemies from spawning. But once you draw them, they are the game for good. For the rest of the campaign, you won't draw that again. And on top of that, you add more special units into the bag, so now you can draw even harder bad guys to deal with. And so the longer you take in these missions, which is counter to stealth, because when playing stealth, you want to take your time, be very methodical, and like
No, get in, get out, take care of business.
okay, we play
Yeah.
it very differently, I guess.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, so that helps push you towards it. And honestly, some maps you don't have that capability. For example, there's one where it's an underground base and it's collapsing. It's a really fun one because everything's blowing up. You're just sprinting out. You're just trying to get out and make it alive. Uh, but yeah, I'm a huge fan of this game. I love stealth games, and this is easily maybe it might be the best stealth game out there, or if not, it's the second best. It is,
Really?
yeah, it is really good for stealth.
Hmm.
Just because, like I said before, that saving action, it lets you do so much more tactical and planning events that other stealth games don't let you do. Because like if you're actually sneaking around, you should have the upper hand, right? If they don't know where you are, and
Yes.
that ability to perform those actions out of turn, kind of in my mind simulates that and really hits it home. Not to mention like this game, and the reason why I love this game so much is I get into the theme,
Yes.
and for
Yes, it
this
does.
one, I feel like it's just a big cinematic game, meaning that like this is a big movie moment. This is the epic part of the action film I'm watching, and I'm reliving it on the board. Like, okay, they're just coming. Let's blow the joint and get out of here, right? And then it's I don't know, it's just fun. I get into it. As
I know.
Kim
I know
mentions,
you have like movies playing in your head,
I
and
do.
then like later we'll be, going to bed or something. Hey, you remember talking about this? I just see it, and I'm like, okay.
Calm down, right?
Yeah. Yes, it was fun. Thank you, dear.
Thank you. So, but yeah, like
But
it's go ahead.
so you say this is like one of the top stealth games for you.
Mhm.
What's another stealth game that comes to mind that
The other one, and the other stealth game I love a lot, it's very different, is U-Boat.
Oh yeah.
That's a huge
That
one.
one hurts my brain.
Yeah, that is. This one is light, fast, and fun. Like you get in action, you have fun, and you get out of it. It doesn't overstay its welcome. U-Boat's kind of the opposite. Very mentally draining because it's a long game for one, and there's just a lot of things to keep track of. And that one, if you're not familiar with it, it is a submarine simulation type game. I'm to
Yeah,
describe
it's a very high
it.
strategy tactician type of game that fits your brain very well. Um,
We'll try to figure. I've been wanting to do a playthrough of that, but it's really hard to film because
it's
it's a real time
huge.
game. It's
Yeah.
huge. There's a lot of pieces. I'm trying to figure out how to best do that one. Not to mention, it does have a digital element. You have to play with that. But that's a different game. We'll go back to V-Commandos.
Yeah.
But basically, between that one and V-Commandos are easily my top 2 stealth games. I love these games for stealth.
I prefer V-Commandos over U-Boat because it's simpler. And
Yeah.
I'm not as much of a like really deep dive. I don't need to spend however long it takes playing that game, but it's still fun. But yeah, I do prefer V-Commandos.
Yeah, and I think if someone's going to ask me, hey, what's the best stealth game out there, and me not knowing who they are, I would definitely say V-Commandos. Because I think more people will enjoy V-Commandos than most other stealth games I've ran into for that purpose. Now, I can see some people maybe think it's too light.
Yeah,
I can see that.
It could be too simple or too rigid because it's, again, dice roll the dice type of luck where, you know, you could be perfectly set up, but just that one bad luck streak could really mess you up.
Yeah, you can. That's why I think the additional level of mitigation would help on that, helping so that you can have, because the fun part of stealth games, in my opinion, is playing out that strategy and planning your move perfectly so you can run across the field before the bad guy turns around and sees you, right? And those moments are really, really fun. And sometimes when the dice are there, and I think the dice element's needed because not everything's in your control.
No, it's not. And you could miss that knife throw from 2 feet
You
away.
could.
Just why? But you can hit the 20-foot tank, you know. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So I think having dice in there in the game makes sense, but just a little more mitigation is the only thing I'd want for this game. But otherwise, I love it, and I look forward to more content for this game. I'm all in on this one. I love it.
So
big fan.
More on the shelf, you're saying?
I'm gonna more on the shelf for this game for sure.
All right, what's going away? No, just kidding.
no, 5 more shelves.
No, this is your space.
Okay.
It's a safe space, Steve.
So yes, long story short, big recommend for me for V-Commandos. It will be hard to find because it is not in retail stores or anywhere really. You kind of have to go to Triton Noir, the website, to buy it directly from them. Now, if you happen to be watching this review live or shortly after the fact, there is going to be another Kickstarter coming up very, very soon. So be on the lookout for that. If you want to know more information about that, I've got my eyes on it, and so I'll be trying to cover that in the near future. And I'll be back in it. So
Okay.
Right. I love this game. I gotta get more of it. More of it, right? But yeah, V-Commandos. Hope you guys enjoyed. And Kim, thanks for joining and in front of the camera.
Yeah, it was fun. I'll share my thoughts.
Anyway, everyone, thanks for watching. And we're gonna be doing. If you let us know if you like this type of format, like the live reviews, and in the future, if you want to jump in and comment or have your own feedback, we'll pull your comments in. We'll have a discussion because I think that's what's gonna be fun about this format, in the sense that most reviews you kind of hear from one person. Here you're hearing from 2 people,
but with similar taste.
Right?
And we could be totally forgetting some major aspect that is like, well, what do you guys think about this? Or
exactly.
Whatever. That's
And so you can ask it live. We'll pull it up and we'll have a discussion on it, and it'd be fun to get more opinions than just ours in here. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the play, or not the play. I'm sorry, the review. I'd like to thank everyone for watching, and we'll see you at the next stop.
Bye.
Bye.